I sat there in the courtroom and watched my wife laugh while she signed the divorce papers. She kept smiling until the judge began to read out my net worth. Then her face went tight. A few minutes earlier, she had leaned over and whispered, "I am going to crush you in court, Mark. Half of everything you built will be mine." She gave a wink to her attorney and put her name on the line like it was nothing. She did not know I had already set up a move that felt like a grandmaster play on a financial chessboard. What came after would test what I believed about marriage, loyalty, and payback. If you have ever trusted someone so fully that their lie felt like a punch to the chest, then you know the taste of metal in your mouth. I asked myself what any decent man would do in my shoes. I did not have a clean answer. A few weeks earlier, the Denver skyline burned gold and steel outside my hotel window, but I barely saw it. My laptop hummed on the desk with a screen full of quarterly reports. I had just finished another day of meetings with potential investors for a new shopping complex. If the numbers kept lining up, the deal would be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I was 41 years old, a Tennessee businessman who had clawed his way up from small construction contracts to real estate developments and a handful of technology ventures. My company's work reached across 3 states. People called me reliable. Some even said I was one of the most respected entrepreneurs back home. None of that mattered much in that quiet suite when the doors were shut. I missed my house. I missed the simple comfort of my own kitchen at night. I loosened my tie, rubbed my eyes, and picked up my phone. One routine never changed, no matter where I was. I called my wife, Ashley. She answered on the second ring with a bright voice. "Perfect timing, Mark. I just got home from dinner with Megan." "How was it?" I asked, settling into the leather chair and pulling my tie loose for the second time. "Did you two fix all the world's problems?" She laughed. It was that easy, musical laugh that hooked me 5 years earlier at a charity gala in Nashville. Just the usual gossip about who is dating whom in our circle. Nothing wild. "How are the Colorado meetings?" "Better than I hoped. The investors are interested in the shopping complex." "That is wonderful, honey. I am proud of how hard you work." Her warmth washed over me and made the distance feel longer. "When will you be back?" she asked. "I will be back on Friday," I said. "It is longer than we planned, but these investors move slow." "I understand completely. I just miss my husband." We talked for a few more minutes about her day, my meetings, and what we might do over the weekend. It was the kind of plain married talk that feels like a porch light when you are far from home. I pressed the end call button and set the phone down. I leaned back and let the silence settle over the room. The screen kept glowing. Something felt off. The call had not ended. I reached for the phone and froze when I heard Ashley's voice again. Only now it was different. Colder. All the warmth was gone. "Brandon, I already talked to my lawyer," she said. "The paperwork will be ready soon. He said I will get 50% of Mark's assets. I will claim emotional abuse. The judge will believe me." The name hit me like a hammer. "Brandon." A man's voice came through, smooth and close to the microphone. "Then we can finally be together. We will live the life we always wanted." My hands clamped on the chair arms until the leather creaked. "It has not been easy putting up with him all these years," Ashley said, and there was poison in her words. "But for us, baby, I can do anything. He is tight with money. I do not even know his full net worth except what is in his personal accounts, which is barely $100,000. Still, by my math, he is worth over $800 million. The man chuckled, low and pleased. 5 years of playing the perfect wife. Worth the wait. "More than worth it," Ashley said, voice dropping into a soft purr. "The Belmead Mansion. His company. The investment properties. Half of it becomes mine once I file. Tennessee law favors wives, especially if there is proof of neglect." "And Mark," Brandon asked, "does he suspect anything?" "Not a thing. He is too busy chasing projects and investors. He is too trusting to question me." My heartbeat thudded in my ears. Every call on my phone recorded automatically. It was a habit from years of business disputes. Now that habit was catching every word. Her plan. Her lies. "The timing is perfect," Brandon said. "We liquidate. We split. We disappear somewhere warm. The Caribbean, maybe. New names. New lives." "I can already taste it," Ashley whispered. "No more pretending to care about building codes and construction dinners. No more playing the devoted wife. Just you, me, and $400 million. I had heard enough. I ended the call. Silence came back, heavy as stone. I stared past my reflection into the city lights. My world did not crack. It shattered. 5 years of marriage turned into a stage play. Every touch and every smile rehearsed for this exact moment. This was not a simple affair. It was not even ordinary betrayal. It was a heist. And I was the mark. A long con had been written into my life from the start. Anger swelled up, but something cooler cut through it. She thought she understood the rules. She thought the courts, the law, and my trust in her were the perfect tools for the job. What Ashley never understood was that I had planned for betrayal long before she ever stepped into my world. The Denver hotel room felt smaller, the corners darker. I sat there after the line went dead and let her words replay in my head. Her voice, her lover, their whole plan. All of it saved by the recorder on my phone. I did not need one more hour in that city. The deal could wait. My marriage was ash, but my fortune would not be. I opened my laptop, pulled up the airline site, and moved my return. First flight to Nashville. No delays. I scrolled to the number I trusted most and pressed call. The line rang twice. David Carter answered with a rough voice. "Mark, do you know what time it is?" "I do," I said steady. "I will be in your office tomorrow. It is very urgent." He had represented me for more than 10 years through mergers, acquisitions, and disputes worth millions of dollars. He did not need the details to hear this was different. "I will clear the schedule," he said. That was all we had to say. By dawn the next morning, my plane dropped through the clouds over Nashville. I carried a slim briefcase and nothing else. The car I ordered slid away from the curb. City blocks rolled past while my mind lined up each piece of the lie. Her bright smile the night we met at that gala. Her careful questions about my calendar. Her push for independence in our household money. The puzzle clicked into place one clean snap at a time. When the car stopped in front of David's old brick building, I got out and headed in. The receptionist barely looked up. David was already waiting. Dark suit pressed sharp. Silver hair combed back. He waved me into his office, shut the door, and sat. I set my phone on his desk and hit play. Ashley's voice filled the room. Cold. Precise. "Brandon, I already talked to my lawyer. The divorce will be ready soon. He assured me I will get 50% of Mark's assets. I will play the victim and claim emotional abuse in court." Then came the man. Smooth. Careless. "Then we can finally be together. We will live our dream life." We listened to the end. Every word landed heavy. When the recording stopped, the room went quiet. David leaned back, hands together, eyes hard. "This is not just adultery, Mark. This is a plan. It is conspiracy and fraud." He pressed a button on his office phone. "Tyler, it is David. I need you here this morning." Then he opened a drawer and set a thick file on the desk. "There is something else. She does not know it, but your empire is already out of her reach." My jaw tightened. The trust. Exactly. Do you remember why we set it up? A picture flashed in my mind. A farmhouse porch in Franklin 10 years ago. My Uncle Leonard slumped in a chair. He had been a strong man once. Now his eyes were empty. The farm was gone. The equipment taken. The savings drained. A divorce had taken everything. "They took it all, Mark," he had whispered. 40 years of sweat gone in months. Courts do not care how hard you worked. They only care about paper. Protect yourself before you give your heart. That warning branded itself into me. With David's help, I acted before Ashley ever came along. Every share, every deed, every investment went into an irrevocable trust that divorce could not touch. What stayed in my name was modest. A checking account, a car, a few personal things. Less than $100,000. Ashley thought she was reaching for a kingdom. She was reaching for crumbs. "Your uncle's pain is what saves you now," David said quietly. "She can scratch at the edges, but the center is locked down." I breathed out and found my footing again. Then let her try? The plan moved the second I left his office. We saved copies of the recording. Tyler Grant would start the digging. The trust held the core. My job was to act like nothing had changed. In the back seat, I pulled up Ashley's name and pressed call. She answered on the first ring. "Honey, how are you doing today?" "I am back in town," I said, warm and steady. "The meetings wrapped earlier than planned. I will be home soon. I have missed you so much." Her happy little gasp sounded real, but now I could hear the performance behind it. "Oh, that is the best surprise. I will get everything ready." "I am on my way," I said, and ended the call. When the car turned onto Belle Meade Boulevard, the white columns of my house rose against the autumn sky. I looked at that perfect picture and felt nothing but resolve. Ashley was already waiting at the door when I pulled up. She wore a cream sweater and that bright, warm smile. Her arms were wide. She kissed my cheek with a tenderness that looked real enough to fool a camera. "Welcome home," she whispered. "I have missed you too." I kissed her back. My mask did not slip. Behind it, a clock had started ticking. 3 days later, I was back in David Carter's downtown office. The blinds were halfway closed, laying thin bars of light across his polished desk. Between us sat a thick manila folder stuffed with documents, photographs, and neat notes in Tyler Grant's tight, careful handwriting. David did not waste time. He slid the folder toward me. Tyler moved fast. "What he found is clear. And the man your wife calls Brandon? His real name is Thomas Brennan." I opened the folder. The first photo showed Brennan at a Nashville coffee shop. Lean face. Easy confidence. He was turned toward Ashley, smiling like he already owned the future. Under the photo, Tyler had typed, "Thomas Brennan." Multiple aliases. Active confidence man. More than 10 years in operation. "He has been running the same play for a decade," David said. "It is not that women fall in love with him. He recruits them, trains them, and places them in the lives of wealthy men. They marry, play the part, then file for divorce. The settlements move into offshore accounts he controls. When the job is done, he drops them. We have 3 confirmed cases. There may be more." I turned the page. The first file carried a Florida court seal. Case 1, Jacksonville, year 2014. The woman's new name was Jessica Miller. She had grown up short on money. Brennan had promised her a life she had never known. Within a year, she married a car dealership owner nearly 20 years older. 18 months later, she filed for divorce and claimed emotional neglect. The settlement was $2,300,000. Within months, bank transfers zigzagged through shell companies that Tyler traced back to Brennan. Jessica disappeared soon after. I flipped to the next tab. An older photo showed a woman with auburn hair and a careful smile. Case 2, Houston, year 2017. Emily Brooks had been a receptionist at a law firm. Brennan met her at a networking mixer. He built her up. He picked the target. A real estate developer with a weakness for charming company. The romance was fast. The wedding was flash. The divorce was loud. The settlement was $5 million. Emily never kept more than the first transfer. The rest drained through an offshore pipe Brennan had already built. Tyler's note at the bottom read, "Currently waiting tables near Dallas." Filed 2 civil cases against Brennan under different names. Both dismissed for lack of evidence. The last tab hit me hard. Case 3, Charlotte, year 2020. The woman was Amanda Clark, a single mother working double shifts at a bar. Brennan sold her a dream. Partnership. Safety. Money. He set her up with a tech founder he had picked out. The divorce followed a script. Allegations of verbal abuse. Claims of financial control. The settlement was $3,800,000. Within 6 months, she was broke and alone. Tyler's final line. Attempted suicide, year 2022. Survived. In therapy. Estranged from family. I shut the folder and clenched my hands. The air felt heavy. So Ashley was not just cheating, I said. She was recruited. David's face might as well have been carved from stone. Brennan spotted you at that charity gala in year 2019. He studied your habits, your donations, your public footprint. Ashley did not cross your path by accident. He put her there. He polished her. He guided her. He walked her straight into your life. My mind rolled back through those early days. The gala lights. Ashley's easy laugh. How smoothly she moved through Nashville talk. That had not been fate. It had been rehearsal. David tapped the folder. Tyler pulled the phone logs. Years of contact between Ashley and Brennan. Burner numbers. Late-night calls. Locations that line up with hotel check-ins. I leaned back and took it in. She knew exactly what she was doing. Willing accomplice, David said. Not a victim. Your recording proves intent. This file shows a pattern. Now it is about timing. We keep her thinking she is in control until she makes a clean move. The more confident she feels, the more evidence we gather. I did not speak for a while. My uncle's warning ran through my head. Protect yourself before you give your heart. I had done that, and it was saving me now. It did not ease the sting. Ashley had not stumbled into some fling. She had been planted like a seed in soil Brennan chose, watered with 5 years of lies, and groaned for harvest. David slid the folder back to me. Tyler will keep digging. Phone records subpoenas. Financial subpoenas. License plate readers. Public sightings. No shortcuts. Brennan thinks he is running the same old script. He does not know the curtain is already rising. I stood and buttoned my jacket. The rage had cooled into accuracy. This was no longer about feelings. This was about a plan. Patience. Letting Brennan knot his own rope and step into it. As I walked out into the late afternoon, my phone buzzed. A message from Ashley lit the screen. I cannot wait to see you tonight. I will make that pasta you love. I stared at it with a flat face. To her, it was another layer of the act. Devoted wife, ready smile, knife behind her back. To me, it was one more false line in a show about to fall apart. I typed, looking forward to it, honey, and slid the phone into my pocket. 10 years of Brennan's routine. 3 women wrecked. Millions taken. It stopped here. Ashley thought she was writing the next act of her dream life. She was actually setting up her own fall. That evening, the Belle Mead house glowed warm. Candles flickered along the dining table. Crystal caught the light. The smell of garlic and herbs filled the air. Ashley had gone all in. When I walked into the kitchen, she was waiting in the black cocktail dress I had bought for our anniversary, her smile wide and bright. Perfect timing, she said, smoothing her hair. I made your favorite, linguine with clam sauce. I kissed her cheek and kept my expression soft. Smells incredible. She beamed. To anyone else, she looked like a faithful wife proud to please her husband. To me, she was a seasoned actress stepping into her cue. We sat. Glasses clinked. She chattered about her day, her yoga class, a new boutique opening down the street. I ate slowly and answered in the right places. My mask did not slip. Inside, I heard only the recording in my head. I will play the victim. I will claim emotional abuse in court. After the plates were cleared, she stepped away and came back with a manila envelope. She set it on the table and slid it toward me with careful, measured sadness. Mark, she said, voice soft and practiced. I have been thinking a lot about us. I looked up calm. Have you? Yes. She reached for my hand. Her touch was warm and calculated. We have grown apart. We have become different people. I do not want us to keep hurting each other. She nudged the envelope closer. I think it is time we face reality. These are divorce papers. I glanced at the envelope but did not touch it. Divorce papers, I said, as if trying out the words. I do not enjoy this marriage anymore, she went on, voice trembling just enough. You are always working. You are always traveling. I feel like a stranger in my own home. She blinked fast and dabbed at her eye with a tissue she had set out earlier. It is best to make a clean break. Sign these, and we can both move on. I leaned back and folded my hands. What exactly are you asking for? She drew a long breath, bracing herself like an actress stepping into the spotlight. Half of everything. Tennessee law is clear about marital property. I gave 5 years of my life to this marriage. I deserve 50% of what we built together. What we built together, I repeated, my tone even. Yes. She softened her face and played the wounded partner. I do not want to drag this through court. I do not want ugly headlines. Think about your business reputation. Just sign, Mark. Let us end this quietly. I tapped the envelope with one finger. You have done your homework. Her mouth curved into a small, sympathetic smile. I consulted people. I know my rights. I am not trying to be greedy. I am only asking for what is fair. Fair, I said, letting the word hang between us. She leaned closer and squeezed my hand again. We can both start fresh. I will always care about you, but this marriage has run its course. We deserve happiness, even if it is not together. I studied her face and filed away every detail of the performance. 5 years of lies had turned her into a polished manipulator. She looked sincere. She sounded brokenhearted. But I could still hear the echo from the call. We can finally be together and live our dream life. I can already taste the freedom. Just you, me, and $400 million. I pushed the envelope back across the table. We will meet in court. For a heartbeat, her mask slipped. Shock flashed, then hardened into annoyance. Court? Mark, why would you want that? The fees. The publicity. It will stain your reputation. I am giving you a chance to handle this privately. No. Her voice sharpened. Do not be stubborn. This is the clean way out. I stood up from my chair with slow, steady movements. The clean way, I said, level. The clean way you are talking about is not on this table. She stood up so fast her chair scraped the hardwood. Panic flickered in her eyes. Then she covered it with anger. Fine. If you want to play hardball, I will ruin you in court. Half of everything you own will be mine. I know things, Mark. How you run your companies, how you structure accounts. Judges do not like husbands who hide money from their wives. There it was. The blade she thought she held. I kept my voice level. Are you threatening me? I am protecting myself, she snapped. The same way you have been protecting yourself for years. I turned and started for the stairs. We will see each other in court. Behind me, her voice dropped to a hiss, low into a phone she thought I could not hear. Brandon, we have a problem. He will not sign. I did not pause. I did not flinch. I climbed the steps with a steady face while the house went quiet as a tomb. Downstairs, her careful performance was already fraying at the edges. October came, clear and sharp, and the Davidson County Courthouse in Nashville buzzed like a press room. The gallery was packed, curious locals, business reporters, and a few attorneys eager for a front-row seat to what people were calling the city's biggest divorce in years. I took my place at the respondents' table in a dark suit and said nothing. David Carter sat beside me, calm as a stone, paging through a binder without hurry. Across the aisle, Ashley glowed with confidence. Navy suit, pearls at her throat, a smile tuned to the cameras. She believed this was the day she took half a fortune. A few rows back, Thomas Brennan, Ashley's Brandon on those late calls, lounged with a cool smirk. He looked like a man waiting to watch me get stripped down before lunch. Judge Harold Grayson walked in, silver hair neat, eyes sharp. His gavel tapped once. This court is now in session. Clerk, call the case. The clerk rose. Case number 23-4-71. Ashley Harper Morgan versus Mark Morgan. Petition for dissolution of marriage and division of marital assets. The judge looked to the other table. Mr. Peters, you may proceed. Ashley's lawyer stood in for the Mills from the docket. The name does not matter, the pitch was the same. Her attorney rose like it was opening night. Your Honor, my client has endured 5 years of emotional neglect and financial control. Mr. Morgan built an empire while Mrs. Morgan sacrificed her well-being to maintain their home. Under Tennessee law, she is entitled to 50% of the marital estate. By our estimate, Mr. Morgan's holdings exceed $800 million. We asked the court to award $400 million, along with appropriate spousal support. As he finished, Ashley signed a financial declaration he slid to her. She handed it to the clerk with that same polished smile, the one she had practiced with Brennan. Judge Grayson turned. Mr. Carter, your response. David stood, voice even but carrying to the back row. Your Honor, my colleague's story is compelling but not correct. Nearly 2 years before this marriage, Mr. Morgan created an irrevocable trust. Into that trust went his construction company, his real estate portfolio, and his investment accounts. Under Tennessee law, those assets are not marital property. He set thick binders of notarized records on the bench. The only assets in Mr. Morgan's personal name today are liquid funds totaling $50,480. Mrs. Morgan's share is one half of that amount, $25,240. The gallery broke into whispers. Ashley's confident smile stuttered. Judge Grayson read the filings line by line, then looked up. The trust is valid. The trust assets are excluded from division. Mrs. Morgan's award is limited to half of her husband's liquid personal funds, $25,240. His gavel touched down, light but final. No. Ashley shot to her feet, face flushed. This is a trick. He is worth hundreds of millions. He hid it in that trust to cheat me. Mrs. Morgan, sit down, the judge said. The ruling stands. Her knees dipped, and she dropped back into her chair. She stared at Brennan. For the first time, his smirk wavered. David's tone did not change. Your Honor, while the civil question of marital property has now been resolved, there is a separate matter the court should be aware of. 5 days ago, I referred evidence to federal authorities. Evidence of conspiracy and interstate fraud involving Mrs. Morgan and Thomas Brennan, who is seated in the gallery. Ashley's head snapped toward our table. What? At that moment, the courtroom doors opened. 2 men in dark suits stepped in, badges clipped to their belts. The taller one spoke. Special Agent Richard Clean, Federal Bureau of Investigation. By order of the United States District Court, we have arrest warrants for Ashley Harper Morgan and Thomas Brennan on charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, interstate financial crimes, and attempted fraud upon this court. The gallery gasped. Ashley froze. Her eyes jumped from me to David to the agents. This is not real. You cannot. But the curtain had already lifted. The Federal Bureau of Investigation agent was already reading her rights when a bailiff snapped handcuffs around her wrists. She fought them, crying hard now, her voice breaking. No, I am his wife. I deserve half. You cannot take this from me. The agent did not raise his voice. Ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say. In the gallery, Thomas Brennan tried to slide out of his row and ease toward the aisle. The second agent cut him off. Thomas Brennan, also known as Brandon Cole, you are under arrest. The cuffs clicked shut. His smirk crumpled into raw hatred as he met my eyes. Judge Harold Grayson brought the gavel down. Order. This court will not be used as a stage for fraud. The Divorce Property Division is concluded. The criminal matters belong to the federal authorities. The room shook with whispers and the scratching of pens. Reporters leaned in. Ashley sobbed as the agents led her away. Brennan kept his head down, jaw tight, the hunter finally cornered after a decade of scams. I stayed seated, steady, as if this ending had always been the only ending. Beside me, David Carter closed our binder softly. If there was any satisfaction on his face, it was small and private. When the judge adjourned and the last echo of the gavel faded, I stood and walked into the bright autumn sun. My uncle's warning returned like a verse. Protect it before you give your heart. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. My company was safe. The deceit was out in the open. The two people who thought they had charted my ruin were headed into federal custody. 2 months passed. The heavy oak doors of courtroom 5B creaked shut as the United States Marshals brought Ashley Harper Morgan and Thomas Brennan to the defense table. Chains clinked at their wrists and ankles. Both wore the same khaki uniforms of federal detention, but only Brennan still tried to hide behind arrogance. Ashley's careful poise was gone. She was pale, lips shaking, eyes fixed on the shine of the floor. The clerk read the case. The United States of America versus Ashley Harper Morgan and Thomas Brennan. Sentencing hearing. Judge Samuel D. Porter adjusted his glasses and nodded to the government's table. Assistant United States Attorney Rachel Cortez stood. Her voice was steady and sharp. Your Honor, the jury has already spoken. Today is about consequences. The evidence proved that these two defendants conspired to defraud, deceive, and weaponize marriage for money. Mr. Brennan designed and directed the scheme across state lines, leaving families damaged and finances emptied. Mrs. Morgan became a knowing partner, using her position as a spouse to push the con forward. The law requires accountability. She stepped aside. Special Agent Richard Clean from the Federal Bureau of Investigation handed up a stack of victim impact statements. The room was so quiet that every turn of a page sounded loud. Brennan was asked if he wished to speak. He smirked and let contempt drip from each word. You can lock me up, but you will never erase me. There is always somebody ready to play. A low murmur rolled through the gallery. Judge Porter tapped his gavel once. Mr. Brennan, your arrogance is noted. Sit down. Ashley's attorney leaned toward her and urged her up. She rose with slumped shoulders. I thought I was in love. I thought Brandon wanted a real life with me. I made terrible choices. I asked for mercy. Her words broke apart into sobs. The judge waited. Then his voice came firm and clear. Mrs. Morgan, you were not manipulated. You were a willing participant. The recordings showed calculation, not confusion. The emails showed planning, not panic. You betrayed your husband, this court, and the law. You will serve 12 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. Ashley collapsed into her chair, tears running down her face as a marshal steadied her. The judge turned to Brennan. His tone hardened. Mr. Brennan, your crimes cut deeper. You built false identities. You recruited women as weapons. You abused the courts for nearly 10 years. You left families broken and lives derailed. You are not a clever mastermind. You are a predator who engineered this conspiracy. You will serve 25 years in federal prison without parole. You will also pay $18,400,000 in restitution to your victims. The gavel struck, sharp and final. This hearing is concluded. The marshals stepped forward at once. Ashley's sobs echoed as they lifted her to her feet. Chains rattled on the tiles. Brennan looked across the aisle at me. The smirk was gone. Only a hard, poisonous stare remained. "This is not over," he said, just loud enough to carry. I did not answer. I sat still, hands folded, and watched them go through the side door to the cells. Outside, reporters pressed against barricades and shouted questions while the courthouse bell struck noon. I walked out with David Carter at my side and did not look at the cameras. For the first time in months, my stride was easy. The sting of betrayal had given way to the weight and comfort of justice. Betrayal is a deep cut. Justice takes its time, but it arrives. If you were in my place, what would you have done?